But you take something like the America's Cup. It's due to start with the Christmas race in December of this year. Will we be ready to have an influx of tourists from around the world? I don't know the answer to that. By APEC, November next year, hopefully we will be in that position. But it may take some of the edge off the events of 2021 that would be really beneficial to our accommodation and our tourist industry. I'm not pushing the government to do anything that is against health advice. The health and well-being of us as New Zealanders comes first. But when we can reopen those borders, having those events in our city and in New Zealand will give the boost that the tourist and the accommodation sector needs to recover from what's been a bruising period for them.
And I think it's it'll be an interesting one, won't it? Because I guess America's Cup will presumably be able to happen regardless in terms of getting people here through quarantine potentially, but be able to have the racing. But I guess we may not have that secondary benefit of all the people that would bring with it, right?
Yeah, we're keen to see the race, but we're also keen to get the economic benefit that covers the cost of the infrastructure we've built to enable the race to take place. So, we do want those super yachts here. They bring a lot of money to the country. We do want the tourists to come and enjoy the race, enjoy New Zealand. So those are pretty important benefits, and they need to be built into the equation of what might happen for the America's Cup. At the same time, there will still be the benefit that we will be projecting our city and our country to the world if the race takes place. And that's important as well. So it's premature to make any judgment there. I think we have to see how things evolve. If we're optimistic, then maybe the recovery internationally will be quicker and we can really realise those benefits. If not, we'll put the health of New Zealanders first and we'll do the right thing by New Zealanders.
And just finally, you touched on this, but in terms of APEC, obviously that is due to our hosting year kicks off at the end of this year. And it feels a little bit like that project's been doomed from the start with the fire and now COVID. What do you think, particularly for the leaders meeting, which is November next year, which I know is still a year away, but what do you think the appetite will be for people to travel at that point? And especially now that people are becoming a little bit more comfortable perhaps doing things online, do you think we're likely to see a mass delegation of world leaders emerge in Auckland?
Well, yeah, look, the leaders won't want to put themselves at risk. We've seen that COVID-19 makes no exceptions. We've seen prime ministers, several now, the Russian and the British Prime Minister, come down with the disease. And nobody wants to be, we don't want people coming to the country to put us at risk if COVID-19 has not been properly dealt with by that time. But APEC in Peru was put off last year. I suspect it's in real doubt for this year in Malaysia. And I think the leaders, if it's safe to do so, for them and for us, will be ready to come together and to have that interaction face-to-face, which has been an important aspect of APEC. So I hope that it can happen, and that also, 10,000 people potentially for the leaders' meeting November next year. That's a boost to the accommodation and to the tourist industry in Auckland that we'd really benefit from if it can happen.
Yeah, fingers crossed for that vaccine, I guess.